Hey YouTube, welcome back to a brand new Animal Crossing video. Now that we've had time to let the latest Nintendo Switch 2 Direct sink in and digest everything Nintendo announced, we've had time to reflect on what this means for Animal Crossing, and in this instance I think no news is actually good news, and I'm going to explain why. So if you're a fan of Animal Crossing or you're looking forward to the Nintendo Switch 2 release, be sure to leave a like as it helps out a bunch, and let's jump straight in. Now, unfortunately, despite the Nintendo Switch 2's Direct being an hour long, Animal Crossing wasn't mentioned at all. Nintendo didn't announce a new game, for example, or tease a new update even to New Horizons. But now that the excitement of a new console and a bunch of new games has settled a little, many believe this was actually intentional, and I'm going to explain why and what this means for Animal Crossing shortly. Before we get into that though, it's worth highlighting that Animal Crossing did get a few seconds of screen time though, confirming once again that Animal Crossing New Horizons will of course work with Nintendo Switch 2, and that the new game chat features that allow Switch users to voice chat with each other directly through the console will of course work with New Horizons, making it a much more social game. Furthermore, the new Switch 2 screen share feature, along with the camera options that allow Switch users to share their screens whilst in game chat, was also shown working with Animal Crossing New Horizons. This will almost certainly change multiplayer in New Horizons forever, especially if you regularly play with friends and want to see what each other are up to whilst gaming. I've already mentioned how I think this will add a unique aspect to design challenges or fishing tourneys, for example, when playing with others. Anyway, during the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, Nintendo did announce 3 types of games for the Nintendo Switch 2, including Nintendo Switch 2 games such as Mario Kart World, which will of course be a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. There will also be Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games, which are Nintendo Switch 1 games that have paid expansions that enhance the games and even add content, although these expansions are free for Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack members, and a third set of games that Nintendo quietly announced on their website, and that's a bunch of select Nintendo Switch 1 games that will receive free updates for use with Nintendo Switch 2, which again will add enhancements and even content. In case you're interested, Nintendo Switch 2 exclusives include Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Kirby Air Riders, amongst many others. Nintendo Switch 2 enhanced versions include Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Pokemon Legends ZA, and Metroid Prime 4, all with speed bumps and new content. And Nintendo Switch 2 free updates for Switch 1 games include Super Mario 3D World, Super Mario Odyssey, Link's Awakening, Echoes of Wisdom, Captain Toad, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Game Builder Garage, 51 Worldwide Games, ARMS, Big Brain Academy, and finally Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. So that's exclusive games for the Switch 2, paid enhanced versions of Switch 1 games, and some free updates for select Switch 1 games, all of which will make use of the Nintendo Switch 2's hardware and its new features. Anyway, outside the scope of compatibility and confirming the new Nintendo Switch 2 features will work with Animal Crossing New Horizons, Animal Crossing wasn't really addressed and hasn't been confirmed to receive a paid enhanced edition or even a free update either to enhance playability. I would personally argue that Animal Crossing New Horizons would be the perfect candidate for at the very least a free update, simply to stop lag in Dreams, for example, or make use of the cool mouse Joy-Con hardware that would almost certainly be great for making custom designs. But sadly that isn't the case, and at least at the time of making this video, Animal Crossing isn't on any of these lists. However, the fact that Nintendo seemingly excluded their second best-selling game and failed to mention it for more than a few seconds to demonstrate new features of the Switch 2 almost seems deliberate and intentional somehow, which has of course already begun sparking rumours in the community. The whole no news is good news thing. And in case I'm not making any sense, it's possible Nintendo purposely didn't include Animal Crossing, didn't offer a Switch 2 edition, and didn't announce a free Switch 2 update for New Horizons because they're actually planning something big for the franchise and essentially don't want to create a conflict with a future installment. So in short, it's entirely possible this hints that actually we're closer to, at the very least, an announcement of the next Animal Crossing game than we think. After all, it would be a crazy move for Nintendo to ignore the franchise after the success of New Horizons. So whilst I don't think we'll see a new game until probably next year, I do think Nintendo will reveal something very soon and simply didn't want to waste resources on enhancing New Horizons in the meantime. We're going to see directs in the summer, autumn and winter too, plus any surprises they drop in the meantime, so there's plenty of opportunity to reveal Animal Crossing then, once the Switch 2 has launched. Of course, the good news is that at least Animal Crossing New Horizons is of course compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2 right out of the gate, and you can either start a new island or transfer your save data over and continue where you left off. And what's more is, the Nintendo Switch 2 has already been confirmed to load games almost twice as fast thanks to the guys at GVG who highlighted the comparison based on Nintendo's own trailers, which means Animal Crossing New Horizons will at the very least load twice as fast in theory, which I think we can all agree is a relief. Anyway, regarding new content, there's always the chance Nintendo will add more paid enhanced versions or drop free Switch 2 patches in the coming months, so I guess we can't rule it out just yet. But I do think maybe Nintendo purposely didn't include Animal Crossing New Horizons because they're close to announcing something else. I guess the reality is they couldn't announce everything for the Switch 2 and will need other games to announce later in the year. Maybe when Animal Crossing Pocket Camp stops receiving updates in September or whenever it is a more appropriate time to announce something new. And for the sake of completeness, and whilst not related to Animal Crossing New Horizons, we do have some exciting news which again could be great for the original Animal Crossing. Towards the end of the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, Nintendo also announced the Nintendo GameCube will finally be coming to Nintendo Switch Online for Nintendo Switch 2 users. Like other retro consoles, this will add GameCube games to NSO and allow players to play some awesome GameCube titles as Nintendo Switch Online members. Now, ignoring Animal Crossing for a minute, this is awesome in itself, just because some of these games are hundreds of pounds to buy secondhand these days. It's insane. Anyway, Nintendo announced a bunch of GameCube titles such as Luigi's Mansion, Chibi Robo, Fire Emblem and Pokemon XD, and went on to announce that more titles will be added, which I think we'd expect anyway. Naturally, this means Nintendo will add more and more GameCube games to Nintendo Switch Online over the coming months, and as we've hoped for in the past, the original Animal Crossing population growing now has the chance to come to Nintendo Switch 2. Whether they decide to release it or not is anyone's guess. The game does have some questionable dialogue that some people might find offensive, but that could easily be addressed. If you think Animal Crossing will one day come to GameCube on Nintendo Switch Online, let us know in the comments. So whilst the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct seemingly ignored Animal Crossing, other than highlighting new Nintendo Switch 2 features, it could have been intentional and could hint that something big is on the horizons. And at the very least, Animal Crossing New Horizons will likely load faster on Nintendo Switch 2, and there's always the possibility it receives an enhancement later down the line, or Nintendo feels sorry for Animal Crossing fans and decide to release the original Animal Crossing on GameCube. If you made it to this point in the video, be sure to post Crossing in the comments just to let me know you did, and be sure to include why you think Nintendo decided not to announce an enhanced version of New Horizons during the Direct. I'd love to know. Thank you so much to the Patreon and channel members for supporting this content. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.